Okay, now coming to the interesting part of the section, the third section, which is where we'll actually talk about the image and the containers. Now, when we talk about Dockers are basically, we need to have something bundled into an image that we can actually pull and run it into onto the containers. Now, these images are actually official images or images produced by developers like you and me. We can actually create our softwares and make images out of it, or we can use existing images. In our case, we have to use an existing image of ACE, which is, of course, it's an IBM product. So there's a portal called Docker Hub. So let me take you there. Docker Hub. Inside this, you see it's a Docker Hub container image library. So once you go to this particular library, you can actually search for official products or your own product that you have created. So if I look for ACE, so you see the first one is a verified publisher by IBM. So this is the image that we can probably use. It's deprecated, it's no longer being developed. Okay, never mind. For now, just focus this. This works, I know. I've done that before this recording, of course. So we pull the Docker image using this particular command. Now, this is the image that we will pull onto our Docker that we've installed, or with the Play with Docker also. So we'll pull this image on the Docker system. So to do that, we go back to our command console and we say Docker pull. What's the name? IBM com slash s, right? Now, when we do this will actually connect with the Docker Hub portal and pull the latest image. So you see it is starting pulling the latest image. I'll just pause the video while it's download. It'll take 2-3 minutes. It's a heavy image. We will come back here. Okay, now our image has downloaded from the Docker Hub onto our Docker machine. Now, if we go back to our Docker tool that you've installed, the setup that you installed, now this is the image that we have just downloaded from the Docker Hub. It was a big image, that's why I had to pause the video. So now you have the option to run this image. Now, when you run it, you have to give details like um, what port, what container, and what's the container path, host path, everything. So I have created a command for it already. So I'm going to use that, which is nothing but the command to run this particular image. So if you look at this Docker run, let me just, this is not required. If I go to my command again, explain this command before I run it. Now it says Docker run. Okay, we are running on the Docker, running what? We're running the image. Which image? We're running the IBM Com ACE image that we just downloaded. We run this image and we have the name. Now this is the name of the container that you want to run this image in. Now this image container name could be anything. You can give your name as well. Anything. Hyphen P stands for port. Now we're giving ports which we want to map to from your local to your Docker hub. 7600, and we're giving these ports for this particular image to be be used by this particular tool when we run it. And then we have the env for the license that we need to accept, and we also give the name of the ACE server. Now this is the EG or the integration server that will be created. Actually, before I run this command, I would like to show you the image can be looked from here as well. So you go Docker images. This will show the images that you have on your Docker system, which is this one, which is the same as we saw from this tool, right? And if you do a Docker PS, that will show you the the images that are running in the containers. So currently there's nothing running. So container ID and everything names is 0. Now if I go with the actual command that I was pushing previously, right? If you do let's run it. So what I expect here is that the instance of this Docker image inside a container will start running. I've run the command. Now you see image created. It's building the ACE version. It's checking if there's a valid directory available. It's checking all the basic commands for the ports and all. You see integration server, ACE server. This is the one that we were created over via the command. ACE service is starting to initialize. Now you see 760 port has been assigned to the HTTP listener or the REST admin. This is where we can access the web UI of this. Okay. So the integration has servers has finished initialization. So next step, of course, is to validate if it's running or not. Now, before I go and validate, that would be the next section. I also want to do the same activity via the Play with portal as well. So in case you don't want to install, as I mentioned, so if you go back to Play with Docker, right? So if you meanwhile, if you look at the containers on your Docker, you can actually see the ACE server container is now running on this port. So you can actually get into it and open it in a browser and see. We'll come to that. For now, let's do the same activity with Play with Docker as well. Uh, so in case you have not installed the tool, you can add a new instance here for the sandbox and use the exact same command. You actually don't have to pull the image the first step. If you can actually combine both these together. So if you run this by default, the Docker run will check if there is an image. No, if no, then this image will be downloaded from the Docker hub. So I'll directly execute the run command, the same exact same command. See, it's not able to find the image, so it has went to the actual server and then pulling the image from Docker Hub. While this is installing, while this is getting the image and running the container, we see that our A server is currently, the container is now running. So in the next lecture, we'll actually look at inside the running container and we'll see what else can we do with it. Meanwhile, Play with Docker is also, establishing the Docker image. Let's just give it a minute. Okay, now if you see the output of this command that we did, it downloaded the image and then again it looked for the ACE version that this image was for, checking if working directory is available. This is the exact same steps that happened on the local machine. Remember? Now again, this is the same integration server. ACE server is now starting on the Play with Docker portal as well. So both sections, if you see, our integration server is now ready here. And if you look at the local integration service ready here. So both ways you can do it. I just wanted to, I hope this is not getting confusing. So basically now we have two places where Docker has installed ACE. One is on our local, which is a Docker machine. And second is the sandbox environment of Play with Docker. All right, I'll jump into the next lecture. We'll actually use these particular containers and see how the ACE looks like.